diagram also, you guys have to remember the names also. Both are important. Okay, direct questions aate hain isse. So after full moon, you have got the waning gibbous moon. Looking from the diagram, what can we say about this phase, waning gibbous moon? Isn't it the intermediate phase between the full moon and between the third quarter moon? ये दोनों के बीच में lie करता है,
Yes, sir.
right? Okay. See how much portion, how much percentage of the area of the moon is lit here. Almost 99% seems to be lit here, right now.
So 99% to 50.1%.
From 51 to 99%. In that manner, it's better to say.
Yes.
Okay, almost even the figure we see that it is almost 99%, right? Okay, now talking about moonrise. When do we observe moonrise in the case of waning gibbous? First हम कुछ important points लिख लेते हैं. ये moon का कौन सा phase है? Which phase is this?
So
Intermediate. Okay, between full moon and third quarter.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes.
Third quarter. Yes, Ahmed, are you there in the class or not? If you were to talk about illumination, how much portion of the moon is lit? Almost 99% is lit in this case.
Yes.
Okay. If you were to talk in terms of range, अगर हम range की बात कर लेते हैं, तो it will be around 49% to 99%. Okay, now this
Yes.
much portion of the moon will be lit. Getting it now?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you were to talk about moonrise and moonset, just like हमारे पास sunrise and sunset होता है, similarly we have got moonrise and moonset as well, right? So moonrise की timing क्या होगी? When
So
will you
after
see the
sunset.
moonrise? After sunset, that is in the evening.
Yes.
Okay. And about the moonset, it will be in the morning.
Yes.
Okay. So the important points हमने इसकी याद कर ली. Okay. So talking about its position in the space, it is moving from the full moon towards the third quarter moon.
Yes.
Right? This is moving from here to here. From full moon towards the third quarter moon. So position in space is moving from from full moon to third quarter moon. Okay now?
Yes, sir.
All right. So that is all about waning gibbous. After that, which we have got this phase, Ahmed. Next concept phase है? After waning gibbous, you have got which phase of the moon? I believe several times I have written it over here. Third quarter moon, no? Yes, Sarhan?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now. First, now guys, please remember this. Otherwise, you won't be able to relate to the discussion going on in the class. Please remember the names at least. Starting from
Right.
new moon, you have no good. Ahmed, have you remembered the names? Have you remembered the names of the phases of the moon?
No, sir.
You need to remember that. Otherwise, you will be having problems. There are total 8 phases of the moon, and that is mentioned over here. Okay, now that is mentioned over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So here now from waning gibbous, moon is moving towards the third quarter phase here. Look at the illumination here and look at the position. What are the important points we can derive about the third quarter moon?
So it's located at the southern hemisphere.
Exactly. Third quarter moon. Also, if you were to look at the size of the moon now, only half portion of the moon is lit
50%.
here. Okay. 50% of the moon is illuminated here, right?
Yes.
So इसे हमने half moon भी कहते हैं, we call it as half moon as well, right? Okay. Illumination, it's 50%. 50% of the moon is illuminated while the other 50% is non-illuminated, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so far how much of distance the moon has traveled in this space? It has gone 3/4.
Yes, sir.
So far it has traveled 3/4 of the distance of orbit of Earth.
Yes.
I mean to say, ये हमारा Earth है. This is the orbit of the Earth, right? So far, when the moon is in the third quarter stage, third quarter phase, so it means that the moon has traveled how much portion? It has traveled almost 75% of the orbit of Earth,
Yes, sir.
right now. That much portion, let's assume हमने कर लिया. This much of portion. Getting it, Ahmed? Yes, Ahmed? 75%. So we say that moon has traveled 3/4 of the Earth's orbit in this case. Getting it now?
Yes.
Okay. Also, if you were to look at the position of the moon, look at the diagram again. It is again
Southern hemisphere.
here, right? Here. Or if I were to draw a separate diagram, it would not somewhat look like this. Here is the, let's say, sun. Okay. This is your Earth here. E for Earth. So moon would be here. This is your moon. Getting it now? Okay. And only this much portion is left here. The other half which I have not shaded. Got it now?
Yes.
Okay. After this, we have got the what? Now,
Ve-
after the third quarter moon, okay, hold on for a minute. After third quarter moon, you guys tell me, will the size of the moon increase or decrease in terms of the illuminated portion I'm talking about, not the actual size? Will you be able to see the amount of moon that we will be seeing? Will it increase or decrease?
So increase.
Why it will increase? Huh? You have got the waning crescent moon now. Moon का
Yes,
size
sir.
जो हमें दिखता है that it starts to decrease now. Okay. So last phase of the moon is the waning crescent moon. Yes, Ahmed? Waning crescent moon. Okay. Waning crescent moon. Where is it? It is here. This phase we are talking about. All right.
Yes, sir.
This phase. Okay. Also, if you were to say like the waning crescent moon, is it not lying between the third quarter moon and the new moon? क्या ये हमारा, is it not lying between the third quarter here and the new moon here? So it's in between the two phases here, na? Third quarter and new moon. It's in between these two now. So we also say it to be an intermediate phase. It's in the intermediate phase. Although it is the 8th stage of the moon, ये moon का 8th stage है, but if you were to talk about in which phase it is in the intermediate phase. Now let me clear it. What is intermediate and what is primary phase here? Look here. जब भी हम quarters में बात करते हैं, for example, when you talk about this first quarter, okay,
Yes.
Arhan Ahmed, and when you talk about the full moon, this one, and the third quarter and the new moon, in this case we say that they are in the primary phase. इन्हें हमने primary phase कहना है. Getting it now? Here also we say it to be primary phase. Primary phase and primary phase. While whenever moon will be lying between two primary phases, for example here, then you will call it to be, it's in the intermediate phase. Getting in what I'm trying to say? Yeah, intermediate phase.
Yes, sir.
This is also intermediate phase. So count and do tell me how many of intermediate phases are there and how many of primary phases are there. Yes, both of you count the number of primary phases and the intermediate phases. कितने primary phases होंगे, कितने intermediate? Ahmed, your voice is coming too low. बहुत कम आ रही है आपके पास. Yes, Arhan. How many intermediate phases are there?
Sir,
Yes. Mhm.
4.
There are 4 intermediate phases. Good. Primary,
Sir,
that is also. That is also.
4. It's 4.
That is also 4. 4 plus 4, that makes 8. And that is the total number of phases of the moon.
Yes, sir.
Ahmed, that is clear to you also? Yeah. Ahmed, shall we move ahead then?
Yes, sir.
Right. So we were talking about waning crescent moon. So talking about its phase, it's not in the primary phase. It's in the
Intermediate.
intermediate phase. That is, it is lying between the third quarter moon and the new moon. Right.
Sir.
Talking about how much of illumination? We'll say that illumination is somewhere between 1% to 49%. Okay. Actually, no, it's better to say that illumination to kam hoti hai na. The amount of the portion of moon which we see, it starts to decrease. It's rather to say that from 49% to 1%. They comes to see that only 1 or 2% of moon is visible. That is the crescent stage of the moon, right?
Yes.
So illumination is decreasing here. Okay. In the previous one, we will also say that it is how much? It is from talking about this one, third quarter moon. It will be
49%.
no, it will be 50%, exact 50%. It will be exact 50%. Talking about the waning gibbous phase, it will be reverse now.
Yes.
49 to 99% होगा ये. Sorry, 99 to 49%. Okay. So these are the important points which you guys need to remember. Okay. Okay. Now further, if you were to talk about the moonrise and moonset, in the case of waning crescent moon, yes, moonrise will be early morning
Yes.
and moonset will be
Evening.
in the afternoon. Okay. Moonrise, it will be early in the morning. You will be able to see the crescent moon. Yeah. आप
Yes.
कभी बहुत सुबह उठो आप, okay ना, like in the 5 in the morning, you will be able to see the waning crescent moon. Not on any day, but on the end of the moon's phases. Okay, on the probably on the 28th or 29th day. Yeah. Then talking about the moon set, it is in the afternoon. Okay, that is clear.
Yes.
Okay. Now you guys tell me the moon that we are seeing right now, it is in which phase?
Say full moon.
It's the full moon. Good. That is the full moon. Okay. Or if I were to talk a week ago, the moon was in which phase?
Waxing abyss.
Waning crescent.
Oh, okay, sir. Yes. Yes.
Getting it now?
Yes.
You see, the crescent phases can be a good time to see Earth shine as well. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so when sunlight reflected from the Earth gives the dark areas of the moon a faint glow. Okay, now have a look at this diagram. Here you can see very beautifully it has been shown here. The changing phases of the moon. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Ahmed, Ahmed, read the paragraph.
The moon does not produce its own light but
Hmm.
reflects the light of sun. As the
Hmm.
moon revolves around the earth, different parts of its surface get illuminated and we see a different shape every day.
Exactly. Right. Okay then. And the phases of the moon will be repeating them every 29 days. To be exact, it's 29.5 days. Okay now.
Yes.
Hmm. On the full moon day, the day when we can see the whole moon. So on this day, the sunlight falls all over the moon, right? Few important points. Let me quickly cover them. On full moon day, you are able to see the whole of moon because sunlight falls on all over the moon. Getting it now?
Yes.
Hmm. Waning and waxing phase. Waning phase was what? It is the phase of the moon in which it decreases in size. Now, in which phase? The phase in which it decreases its size. So that will be the waning phase. So which one is the waning phase, by the way? Yeah,
So waning
looking
crescent.
waning crescent. No phase. Waning crescent is not only this one.
Oh, okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Third
So
quarter
it
is
is
also.
uh, so
When it
intermediate phase.
which one?
Intermediate phase.
Hmm. Intermediate phases, or we can also say that when the moon starts to move from where to where, from full moon towards the new moon, that is the waning phase. Here you can see full moon is visible here, only 99 to 49% is visible here, 50%, and here 49 to now from 50% now it is decreasing towards the 1%. यहाँ पर हमारा full moon visible है. Now you can see that it starts to decrease from here now. So as you move from full moon towards the new moon, it's the waning phase. And then you have got, okay, let me write it over here. This is important here. This here is the waning phase of the moon. Okay, Ahmed Arhan.
Yes, sir.
And this one here where you, the size of the moon appears to be increasing, that is the waxing phase of the moon. Hope it is clear to both of you.
Yes, sir.
Hmm? So waxing phase of the moon in which it increases its size. Okay. Now, have you guys ever observed blue moon in the sky? क्या आपने कभी observe किया? The last time it was observed, I believe it was in the year 2018. Hmm? And the next time, the probability that it will might be observed will be in the year 2037.
No, sir.
Yes. Okay. Look here. Blue moon. Generally, we know that there occurs one new moon every month,
Yes, sir.
right? However, at times there can be two new moons in a single month. The second new moon in a month is called the blue moon. Sometimes there can be two new moons in one month. Normally हमें पता है there's only one new moon in a month. ठीक है?
Yes, sir.
But sometimes there can be two new moons. Yes, Ahmed? So that second new moon will be called as blue moon. It doesn't mean when I say blue moon, it doesn't mean the color of the moon on that day changes to blue. No,
Yes.
it has nothing to do with the color of the moon. We will discuss that as well. It has got to do with the atmosphere of the earth. I will come to that in a while. We know the phases of the moon hold an importance in the Indian society and culture as different festivals in India are celebrated depending upon the phases of the moon. Now, interesting. It is interesting here in India that based on the different sizes, based on the changing size of the moon, we have set some. We celebrate certain festivals here in India. Can you guys name some of the festivals associated with the changing phase of the moon? Yeah,
So Eid, it's
Eid, very good. When it is celebrated, can you name
so
on which phase?
crescent.
Crescent moon, exactly. Other festivals are also there. For example, Diwali hai, right? It
Yes,
is
sir.
celebrated on new moon day.
Yes, sir.
Hmm. Guru Nanak birthday is also there, right now. Then you have
Yes.
Mahashivratri is also there. So have a look at them as well. While I come back to the previous slides, first have a look at them and please remember them. Diwali is celebrated when, Ahmed? On the new moon's day.
Yes, sir.
Ahmed, are you there in the class or not? Hmm? Yes, Ahmed is here or
Yes,
not,
sir, I
Arhan?
am.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Please
I
be
am.
active. Okay. Please be active in the class and participate actively. Guru Nanak birthday is celebrated on full moon day. Okay.
Yes.
Mahashivratri is celebrated on the 13th night of waning moon. And Eid ul Fitr, we all know it is celebrated on the day following the crescent moon. Right?
Mm,
Okay, that is in the on the end of the month. Right?
yes.
Okay. Now have a look at the blue moon. It somewhat will look like this. I believe, please to confirm that. I believe the last time we saw the blue moon, it was in the year 2018. Okay. Look here. Arhan, read this paragraph, please. Read the paragraph.
Think something happening once in a blue moon is
Hmm.
rare. Actually, blue moons are fairly common, at least in astronomical terms.
Hmm.
First things first, a blue moon has nothing to do with the
Hmm.
color of moon. Instead, it is all to do with the timing of full moons during the year.
Hmm. So important point we need to know that once the phenomena of blue moon, it is quite rare. It is quite rare, but in astronomical terms, it is not that much rare. In the case of astronomy, they have their own calendars. Okay, for different objects, the recurrence of that phenomena, according to that, there are different calendars. What do I mean by that? For example, Halley's comet. You guys, I believe you guys might have heard of the Halley's comet.
Yes, sir.
आपने नाम सुना है Halley's comet का? Okay. In how many years it is usually seen? In how many years Halley's comet is usually seen? Yeah. कितने सालों में Halley's comet देखा जाता है? And when is the next year it will be seen then? I believe in the 2062. Huh?
Uh,
Look here. Halley's comet now. Simply we say it Halley. Comet Halley, or either we can say it as Halley. It is visible from Earth every 75 to 79 years. Every 75 to 79 years, we can see this, right? And in the universe, there are some phenomena that may occur over a large period, over a large gap of time. For example, some phenomena may happen in the period of like 100 to 200 years. में कोई phenomena हो सकता है. I'm talking about the recurrence of that phenomena. Getting it now? For example, some comets, for example, the Halley's comet takes around 75 to 79 years to be seen from Earth, while there could be some comet that might be visible in a span of 100 to 200 years only. While if we were to talk about blue moons, it can be seen in like 15 to 20 years. Yeah.
yes, sir.
So that's why we say astronomical terms में ये हमारा, it's not a big time. It's not a like large gap in between the recurrence of the blue
Yes, sir.
moon. Getting it now?
Yes.
Okay. It has got nothing to do with the color of the moon, right? It's not like on that particular day the color of the moon changes to blue. The interesting thing is that it has got to do something with the atmosphere of the Earth, right? In the higher classes, you will get to know about scattering. Why sky appears, sky looks blue, and in the evening time, it looks red. Yes. Hmm?
Uh,
Because the thing is now, blue light scatters the most. Hmm? Blue light scatters the most. That is why we see the sky as blue. Getting it now? So it has got to do with the phenomena of scattering. Okay. Arhan, please read this paragraph which I have written over here.
in very rare circumstances, the moon can appear blue, but in this case, it is a color added to the moon by weaving it through a haze of dust particles in our atmosphere, perhaps from a recent volcanic eruption. In this
Hmm.
case, from space, the moon will look just as grey as it always has.
Good. Ahmed, please explain this paragraph which Arhan has just read. Ahmed, explain करें आप इसे.
Okay. So, in a very rare circumstances, the moon can appear in its
Ahmed, you don't
true
have to read
form.
it again. You don't have to read it again.
Oh,
Okay, na?
yes, sir.
Okay. Just explain it. What you get from it.
Okay. The blue moon can appear with
Look here. Arhan, would you like to explain?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So,
Go on.
so in rare circumstances in astronomy, a blue moon can appear, but but this color is added because this color is added because the haze of dust particles in the air uh,
Mhm.
and in our atmosphere. Uh, the example of the cause of this haze of dust can be an volcanic eruption
Mm. Right.
and
Look here. Okay. Okay. Good. Look here. What happens now? There's a phenomenon of scattering of light. Okay. That you will get to study in the um, next class. The thing is that when you view the moon from Earth on full moon day, on new moon day, okay, not the full moon day, thereby it's a probability that if new moon occurs twice in a month, then the second new moon can be a blue moon. Okay. It's actually got to do with the alignment of the moon also. Okay. What is the alignment of the moon with the earth and the sun? That is the one thing. And the second thing is that if in certain places there are volcanic eruptions, so obviously volcanic eruption से बहुत सारे dust निकलेंगे. There will be dust in the atmosphere now. Dust, smoke particles will be there in the atmosphere. So because of that dust and haze in the atmosphere, we are seeing this moon through the atmosphere. Now we have to see through the atmosphere in order to look at the moon. Now, right? Whatever you see in the space, we have to look it through the atmosphere, right? So thereby, due to presence of the dust particles in the atmosphere, moon looks blue. Getting it now?
yes, sir.
As simple as that. Okay. Got it, Ahmed? Now, here's a very tragic photo. This incident occurred in the year 1967. Okay. What do you suppose this image is of? क्या लगता है?
The astronaut suit.
Astronaut suit. But is it in good condition? Like this one?
No, sir, it's blown to pieces.
It's blown to pieces, and basically this is the basically remains of the dead person, dead astronaut. Okay. So there was astronaut Gus Grissom's flight suit. Hmm. This is the Grissom's flight suit. It is completely burnt here. So there was what happened in the just like you have the cockpit in the aeroplane now. In the same manner, you have in the nozzle part of the spacecraft, in the rocket, basically, the spacecrafts are put in there. So there, what happened, there were some loose wires in the Apollo 1 mission. By the way, Apollo 1 is the very first mission of the Apollo series mission.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there were some loose wires, and also Apollo 1, while testing, also several anomalies, several defects were there.
Yes, sir.
So initial stages में problem थी. Okay now. So obviously this was doomed to be happening. So there were some electrical short circuits some happened there. So due to that, all the crew members in the Apollo 1 died due to the fire. Okay. So which killed Grissom, Ed White, and Roger Schaff. It is from the National Archives. Getting it now? Now my question is that this occurred in the atmosphere of the Earth right now.
Yes.
But what if the person's skin is exposed in the outer space? Ever thought about this? If someone was to come out of this space suit here, huh? If someone were to come out of this space suit in the space, then what will happen to the skin of the person, basically to the person?
So since there are a lot of pressure in the space and
Mhm, mhm. There is no pressure in the air, in the space, because there is vacuum now. प्रेशर तो हमारे बॉडी के अंदर होगा. यस नूर, सॉरी अरहान, pressure will be in our body na, inside our body na.
yes,
Pressure exists wherever there is a medium, wherever there are particles. Okay, जहां particles होंगे, then there you will be experiencing pressure. So thereby in the atmosphere there is sorry, in the space there is no atmosphere, no particles are there, hence there is no pressure there. Okay.
also sir, since the space is
Hmm.
cold, so the person
Mhm.
would just freeze.
No, the prior reason for the death will be what? Explosion. Look here, inner explosion here. What will happen? Surprisingly, you probably would not explode. Skin is almost completely gas tight and is strong enough to withstand a pressure differential of well over 1 atmosphere. Look here, you are in the space, someone is in the space suit, right? So in the space suit, the body also, our body also has got its own pressure now, due to the blood circulation and due to the pumping of the blood because of the heart is pumping the blood at a pressure, that is the blood pressure. So हमारे body के अंदर एक pressure है, right? But outside our body in the space there is no pressure now. So there will be a pressure difference now. Yes,
Yes, sir.
getting it, Ahmed? Okay. So pressure difference होगा हमारा. Okay. Pressure is calculated in terms of atmosphere. Okay. 1 atmosphere. Okay. Pressure, atmospheric pressure को measure करने की unit होती है, that is atmosphere, simply atmosphere. Okay. So even if there is a difference of 1 atm pressure, 1 atmosphere pressure, the body is able to withstand that pressure also. Our body is strong enough to withstand that much of pressure. You also would not instantly freeze. As Rahan, you were mentioning that we will freeze to death. You will not freeze instantly, although the person will freeze, but not very instantly. In a vacuum, the only way to lose heat is by radiation, and which occurs very slowly for a relatively cool object like a human body. So our human body is a relatively cool body right now.
Yes, sir.
If you were to look at the surrounding objects, it is a relatively cool body. Getting it now, apart from certain other hot bodies. So heat will lose, but very slowly if it were to lose by the process of radiation, right? So you would still die, of course. Of course, the person exposed in the without the spacesuit in the space is going to die. But it would be by what? A asphyxiation. So what is this condition? Asphyxiation. Look here, we know that our blood holds oxygen in it now. Hemoglobin is carrying the oxygen in our blood, right, Ahmed? Arhan?
Yes, sir.
So our blood holds enough oxygen so that our body can, basically our brain can function for at least 15 seconds, right now. So your brain will be getting enough oxygen to function for 15 seconds. After that, you would black out with complete brain death falling within 3 minutes. So a person who is without the space suit in the space, what will happen? If he or she, okay, is exposed to the space, then the person's brain would be only active for 15 seconds. After that, within 3 minutes, the person will be dead, dying. Now, suppose even the person were to be rescued under 30 seconds. Under 30 seconds of exposure to the space, if the person were to be brought
Rescue.
rescued, brought back to the space, spacecraft. Okay, so thereby also it would be very difficult to save the person. Why? Because there's a factor of this pressure difference की भी हमने बात की ना. The
Yes.
pressure inside the body would be greater than the outside ना. Less
Yes.
pressure or almost no pressure is there in the space. हमारे body के अंदर more pressure है, ज़्यादा pressure है, right now. Also, if you were to search it, do one thing after the class, search about what are the changes that happens to astronomers when they went into space and when they come back on the earth. You will get to know that basically the chest cavity expands a little bit in the space. It expands a little bit in the space while coming back on the earth. It takes some time to adjust to the pressure of the atmosphere here on earth.
So they also forget about gravity.
Exactly, many times like they would not just leave things like this, and
Yes, sir.
then it just falls, right? Okay, look here, what I was saying, that even if you were rescued in the first 30 seconds, you'd be probably have nothing worse than love bite type bruises over all your skin. Don't try to hold your breath before they throw you out, though. The air in your lungs will cause your lung tissue to rupture quite abruptly as it expands into your chest cavity. So, what I was saying here, this is the chest cavity of the person. Here, the
Yes, sir.
pressure is more. High pressure is there. Yes, Ahmed? While in the surrounding, there is almost low pressure or no pressure. Ahmed, are you there in the class or not?
Yes, sir, I am.
We know that यहाँ पर pressure high है, यहाँ pressure is low, right? There is movement of something or transfer of something from a high pressure to low pressure area, right? So
Yes, sir.
this high pressure, the constituents within the chest cavity, it will start to expand because there's a pressure difference between the body and the outer environment, that is the space here. So the tissues of the lung will start to expand and almost it will rupture, breaking the ribs also, right?
Yes, sir.
So it will be forcing air bubbles into your bloodstream also. Also, what will happen? The air bubbles that are in the lungs, it will try to come out from any sources from the body,
Yes, sir.
right? So first, what will happen? We know there are blood capillaries in the lungs. We in the previous class, I believe, no, it was in the different class. Anyways, we know that there are bronchioles, there are alveoli in your lungs that is rich in blood capillaries. You know that, no?
Yes, sir.
In the previous 7th class, आपने पढ़ा होगा. Bronchioles are there, right? It is divided into alveoli. Alveoli are rich in blood capillaries that carries the blood from the lungs to the body
Yes,
and
sir.
routes impure blood back to the here, routes carbon dioxide back to the lungs here. So what will happen? All the air bubbles stored in the lungs will be forced into the bloodstream, into that blood, right? So the thing is that even if the person is rescued under 30 seconds, it will be very fatal for his health. He or she may not survive. Getting it now? So that was the case about whether the person could be saved or not, or what will happen to his or her body if he or she were to be left in the space. Getting it, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we are not done talking about the moon. Few important things are also left here. Okay, the dark side of the moon. Yes, dark side of the moon, where very few satellites have been sent. Okay.
Yes,
Also, recently in the southern portion of the moon where the India sent a satellite, that also comes in the dark side of the moon.
yes,
In
sir.
fact, okay, the part of the moon that always faces away from the Earth is called the dark side of the moon, right? So the phase of the moon, the part of the moon that you are seeing, is only the half part of the moon. The other part we never get to see. Okay. We know the moon's time period for rotation on its own and revolution around the earth is approximately the same, that is 27.3 days. So
Yes,
moon also rotates on its own axis, that takes 27.3 days, while it also rotates around the earth also. Getting it now? So that takes it to be same time. It takes same time to revolve around the earth, that is 27.3 days. Yes, Ahmed? Arhan?
yes, sir.
Hmm. So therefore, an observer always sees the same phase of the moon from the earth. So we unfortunately are seeing only the one phase of the moon. Okay now.
Yes,
Now talking about the surface of the moon here. The surface of the moon is not even, it's not fertile, or like it does not support life. Hmm? It is barren and dusty and devoid of water. Okay, it does not consist of water in it, right? Although there has been speculations like on the dark side of the moon, there are deep craters. Okay, deep
yes,
craters
sir.
where there might be possibility of presence of water, but then it's just a possibility. It has many large craters and high mountains. So what are these craters? Hmm? So craters is what? These
So,
are the mhm.
so big holes in the ground,
Hmm. Big holes or bowl-shaped holes in the ground.
which are caused by meteors.
Exactly, which are caused by due to the hitting of meteors, right?
Yes,
Hmm. So that is the craters. Okay, now, right?
yes,
Also on the moon, you will see there are steep and high mountains also present in the moon, right? So we have got high and steep mountains are there in moon. Now talking about the gravity, you guys know what is gravity now? Simple
yes, sir.
thing,
Yes,
the pulling force of the earth that acts on us.
yes,
Hmm,
sir.
Yes, sir.
right
Force that
now. Hmm, by the way, what is the force of gravity on earth?
Uh,
Gravity on earth is how much?
10 or
Yes,
50,
Ahmed?
50 or 10.
No. Force of gravity on earth is 9.8 meter per second.
Oh,
Okay now.
yes,
okay,
sir.
Hmm.
sir.
While the force of gravity on moon becomes just 1/6 of earth.
1/6 of yes, sir.
1/6 of earth. Getting it now? Okay, so 9.8 upon 6, that will be giving you the gravity on moon. That gives you how much?
Uh, Gravity
Almost 1.6 something.
is
Okay, we can approximately say it to be 1.6 meter per second. So ये हमारी gravity है, force of gravity, right? Also, we know that there is no atmosphere on the moon, and we know that in order to hear the sound, we need a medium. Thereby, since there is no atmosphere, thereby we don't have got a medium for the transfer of sound waves, right? That is why we cannot hear on the surface of the moon. Thereby, what do? We take help of what? Microphones, or use the sign language in order to communicate. So the astronomers that go there, they have got microphones installed in their suits right now. So in that manner, they are able to communicate with each other. Okay, there's no atmosphere there, no gases present on the moon that could act as a medium for the propagation of sound. Okay, hence the astronauts of the moon cannot hear each other. They generally use sign or microphones to communicate with each other. Now we
Yes,
talked about, like, you guys know how to we know what is mass and weight, right?
yes, sir.
Okay, differentiate between the two. What is mass and weight? क्या difference है?
So, mass is the size of the object, meanwhile,
Hmm.
weight is